Hey crocheters, and welcome to the third video in the Unicorn Hobby Horse Crochet Along. I hope it's been going well for you guys. In this video, we are going to be making the neck, adding the bottom part of our halter here, adding all of this luxurious hair, and making the reins. At the end of this video, you guys will be completely done. Go ahead and definitely use that Unicorn Hobby Horse Crochet Along hashtag, CAL hashtag. I would really love to see the pictures of the unicorns that you guys are making. I get so inspired by the community and everyone's ideas and fresh take on things, so I'm really excited. If you wouldn't mind, please share those. And good luck with the rest of the crochet along. All right, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to be making the neck. We're going to do that with our 8mm hook and our burlap blanket yarn. We'll start with a magic ring, and you want to make sure you have a decent sized tail on this one. So go ahead and make the magic ring, and then we're going to single crochet 12 into it. But this time we are not going to pull it tight as we have in the past. So we're going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 doesn't want to work. 10, 11, and 12. So that is going to be our row 1. So we're going to pull it tight a little bit. We want our stitches to be sitting right up next to each other, but we don't want to close the ring as we have in the past. All right, so it's going to take a little bit of massaging here to kind of get it how I want it. Okay, so you want it to be pretty evenly spaced, and you want it to feel about like this, because we're going to be putting the dowel through this hole and then attaching it up to the head. So grab a stitch marker, and then we're going to begin the next row, which is going to be increase times 12. So each of these stitches is going to have an increasing stitch in it. We've got 1, 2, 3, and 4. And you're just going to continue doing that all the way around until you have 24 stitches at the end. So row 3 is going to be single crochet 1 and then increase. And we'll do that 12 times, so for a total of 36 stitches. Row 4 is going to be single crochet 2 and then increase. And we will do that 12 times for a total of 48 stitches. Now on row 5, we're going to decrease and single crochet 2. So begin with a decreasing stitch, single crochet 1 and 2, then another decrease, and we'll do that 12 times, so we'll have 36 stitches at the end. Row 6 is going to be single crochet 36. go ahead and do that, and I'll see you back here for the next row. Row 7 is going to be decrease and then single crochet 4. So I've got decrease and then 1, 2, 3, and 4. And we'll repeat that for a total of 6 times, which will give us 30 stitches at the end of the row. Row 8 is going to be single crochet 30. So at the end, we'll just have 30 stitches in row 8. Row 9 is going to be single crochet 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8, followed by a decrease stitch. And we'll do that for a total of 3 times, which will give us 27 stitches at the end of row 9. Row 10 is going to be single crochet 27. Go ahead and do that, and we'll meet back here for row 11. Row 11 is going to be single crochet 7 and then decrease. So we've got 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We'll go ahead and decrease. We'll do that 2 more times for a total of 3. So at the end of the row, we will have 24 stitches. Row 12 is going to be single crochet 24. So row 13 is going to be single crochet 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4, followed by a decrease stitch. And we'll do that 4 times for a total of 20 stitches at the end of the row. So for row 14 and 15, we're going to do the exact same thing. For the first 10 stitches, we're going to slip stitch. If you don't know what a slip stitch is, you just yarn over and pull through once. Then you pull it right through the next stitch or through the first loop on your hook. So we're going to do this 10 times. So that's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, oops, not that way, 9, and 10. Then the next 10 stitches, we're going to do a half double crochet. So for that, you wrap the yarn around your hook, then you insert it into the stitch. So you have 3 loops on your hook, and then you pull through all 3. So that was 1, 2, my yarn's tangling, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. So you're going to repeat that one more time for row 15, And what this does is it creates a height difference between the front. Let me pull my hook out so you can see better. It creates a height difference between the front and the back. So it creates a more natural way for the head to sit on the neck. So do that one more time for row 15. So when you finish row 15, you're going to give yourself about a foot of yarn tail, and you're going to pull it through. And this is what you're going to use to attach the neck to the head. So the first thing we're going to do in this video is we're going to be putting the dowel onto the PVC pipe. So you're going to take your hot glue gun and you're going to just run kind of along the edge and just get hot glue all the way around. I got myself tangled a little bit. Alrighty, and once you've done that, I'm going to take the dowel and you're just going to fit it in there nice and securely and let it sit for a little bit. So in the meantime, we're going to take the neck that we've crocheted and we're going to take about 6 inches of nylon with an open top and bottom. And by now, our stick unicorn has probably sat long enough. The glue dries pretty quickly. So what we're going to do is we're going to essentially put the nylon down through the hole here, and then together we're going to slide it onto the stick. So we're going to slide the stick through both the nylon and the hole down here. It might take a little bit of finagling, but eventually you can work it on up. And you don't need too much sticking out of the bottom here. Right now I've got a little bit excessive. There we go, that's better. And we're going to line up the neck so that it sits where the back is higher, or is up kind of on the taller parts, and the bottom sits here more under the jawline. And so at this point, we're going to start stuffing, and we're going to go into this nylon here, and we're going to add our fiber fill all the way around the stick. Oh yes, and an important thing is to make sure that your yarn tail here at the end is out and that it's not stuck up in the neck. So just keep adding stuffing as we go around. And it's twisting on me, but that's not that big of a deal. I can just twist it back. So once you get it nice and filled with stuffing, you're going to line it up to where it sits naturally. We've got the higher part here in the back, the lower part here in the front. And we're going to start attaching the neck to the head. So to do this, we're just going to use our 5.5 millimeter hook. Put the first stitch in here through the head. I guess we'll go right here. There we go. And then we'll pull it down through the neck. We'll go to the next stitch in the neck. And pull it through. Then coming back up. It's a little hard to see because it's pink on pink, but the yarn went right down through here. We're going to go back through this back side of the stitch and we'll pull it through there. So this is how the invisible join is made. And in my experience, it makes for the cleanest attaching. And it also allows you to work a little bit more loosely like this. And then after a couple of joins to pull it tight, and it just cinches right up, like so. So as you go, it's always wise to check your progress every few stitches and make sure that everything is sitting the way you'd like it to go. You're just going to continue to attach all the way around here. And when we get to this part of the head, I'll pick back up again and show you how to finish up. So once you get to the back side, and this is all you have left to fasten off, you're going to pull your nylon up as much as you can. And if you need to add any additional fiber fill, now is the time. I think mine feels pretty good, so I'm just going to leave it the way it is. But you're going to pull the two ends out, and then you're going to fasten them off. And this is how we're going to keep the fiber fill secure in the top of the neck. I like to fasten it 3 times because I'm a little bit overkill. And then you're going to keep fastening off the way that we were doing before. It's important though to take a look at the profile and decide how you want it to sit. If you want the neck or the head to sit at a pretty sharp angle, then you're just going to attach these rows right here. If you want it to be a little bit tighter, you're going to attach these rows up a little bit higher in the head, which will pull it to that less steep of an angle, which is what I'm going to do. So I'm going to be attaching these last couple stitches up kind of in this row. So it's about 3 rows above where it might normally sit. But I'm going to like how that lays better. So for the first one, to kind of make it a little bit more of a gentle up, I'm just going to do it like that. Then the next one I'll work in through this up here. And I'm not doing the exact same method that I was doing before. So I want to make sure that each stitch is right where I want it to go. Alrighty, so here we are back at the very beginning. Our neck is completely fastened on, so now it's just time to knot it off and weave in the ends. Let's see. I don't have a very good explanation for how I knot off. That's why I don't kind of do a verbal explanation as I'm doing it. It makes sense to me, so I just do it. All right, so then the last thing we need to do for the bottom of the neck is we're also going to pull it nice and tight like we did the top. And we're going to form the two ends and knot it off. Like so. So then once you have it nice and secured off, you're going to just use your hook to kind of grab the edge of your crocheting and push your nylon under so it's nice and hidden, or you can just push it under like that. It depends on how tight your circle is or your magic ring. You want it to be nice and hidden in there. And then when it's all on the other side of it, you're going to pull that yarn tail nice and tight. Sorry, I'm not giving the best visual on this, but you're going to pull it tight so that you don't see any of that at all. And then you're going to use that yarn tail and you're going to knot off. Once your knot is secure, just going to weave in the ends. And that is all you need to do for the neck. So the last thing we have to do on the neck is going to be adding the base of the halter. It's not really a halter if you know horse tackle. But it gives a visual, so that's what we're going to call it for now. So what you're going to do is you're going to start working in the back, and you're going to count from the bottom up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're going to be working between the 5th and the 6th row. And we're going to top stitch like we did before. Let's go ahead and pull that through. Set the tail off to the side, and we go underneath the next stitch, yarn over, pull through. The next stitch, yarn over, pull through. And we will continue to do this all the way around. All right, so it's important to start in the back because it's going to, this transition here that we make at the very end is going to be mostly covered up by the mane. And if you do it anywhere else, it's not going to be covered up, and it's going to be pretty noticeable that there's this jog. So once you've secured those ends together, go ahead and weave them in. That one might actually be excessively long. I'm going to trim that. There we go. And we want to weave this one in on the other side, so it has an even look. So at this point, we're going to set the horse aside and we're going, or the unicorn, my apologies, and we're going to work on making the mane. So if you have the burlap blanket stripes, you're going to have a couple of different colors to choose from. I'm going to use all of the colors that are in my, my cake besides the white. And what you're going to do is you're going to start with your 5.5 millimeter hook and your burlap blanket yarn. And you're going to slip knot and then you're going to chain 40. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 38, 39, and 40. And I don't know if you crochet the same way I do, but somehow I always end up with a curly Q. If you want to do single strand hair, you can go with that. I've noticed that my daughter will pull on the strands to the point that they kind of lose their curliness. So instead, I'm going to recommend that we follow this pattern I'm going to show you guys. So we're going to work into the second chain here, and we're going to do a slip stitch decrease. So we're going to work through both of those front loops, and then we're going to yarn over and pull through all 3. So we're going to do 8 of those. So that was 1. This will be 2. Three. Oh, I got that one on the wrong side. Got to straighten out my chain. There we go. So you're going to go ahead and do this 8 times. So when you've done that 8 times, it's going to be curling pretty strong. And we're going to slip stitch 2, so 1 and 2, and we're going to do another decrease slip stitch, like so. Then we're going to do that one more time. So we're going to slip stitch 2, 1 and 2, and we're going to do a decreasing slip stitch. Next, we're going to slip stitch 8. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Then we're going to single crochet 5. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Then we're going to do 3 half double crochets. And the last 3 stitches of our chain. And 3. Pull it all through. And you want to give yourself about 1.5 inches to 2 inches worth of yarn tail. And pull that through. And so, like I said, when I crochet, it ends up in a curly Q. I'm not quite sure why that is. It's got to be something with tension, but I'm going to go back through and I'm just going to straighten out a little bit. the spots that were not meant to be curly, so that I have, it's going to still have some gentle arc to it, but this way I have, you know, straight and with curly at the ends, which is the look that I like. And so this is going to be the long strand, and you're going to make 20 of these, all different colors. Let me grab my stash. So it's going to look something like this, you know, depending on which yarn or which colors you use. Or if you just have a bunch of, you know, leftover tidbits of burlap blanket yarn, just, you know, give yourself a really, really colorful rainbow mane. So like I said, you're going to make about 20 of these, and now I'm going to show you how to do the shorter strand that will be used for the bangs, and we'll do 3 of those. Alrighty, so for the shorter strands of hair, which will mostly be the bangs, we're going to begin the same way, using our 5.5 mil hook and our burlap blanket yarn, and we're going to chain 28. We're going to turn back, and we're going to do the same thing. We're going to do a slip decrease, and we'll go ahead and do that 4 times. That was our first one. This will be our second. I've been working too tightly. Third. Is that right? There we go. And fourth. Then we're going to do a slip stitch, followed by a slip decrease, and we'll do that 3 times. So that's 1, 2, a single crochet, a slip stitch, followed by a slip decrease. Then we're going to slip stitch 4. 1, 2, 3. On this end, it doesn't want to stay still. And 4. And we'll single crochet 4. 1, 2. 3 and 4. Then we'll do half double crochets in our last 2 stitches. 1 and 2. Once again, you're going to cut off 1 inch or 2 for a yarn tail and pull it on through, and then straighten out kind of what you need. And so we'll make a total of 3 of those, all different colors. So while those who want curly hair are off making all of their curly hair, for those who want to just do straight hair, this is how we're going to do it. So you're going to take one of the colors, and you can switch whenever you would like. And we're going to start just like we're going to do a top stitch. I'm going to pull it through like so, keep that yarn end over there. And then you're going to go into the stitch and up through the next one, just as though you're going to do a top stitch, but you're going to pull out a nice length, the length that you want, and you're going to hold it tight kind of with your thumb. You're going to pull through here, and then you're just going to continue on like that and finish up your slip stitch. So at the moment it's not terribly secure, but when you go back through and do the next stitch, it will secure it. So go down like so, pull out the yarn length that you would like. I'm going to try and make mine kind of even. There we go. Then you're just going to yarn over and pull through both. And you're just going to continue doing that. If you want to switch colors, you can. If you want a mane with only one color, that's totally acceptable as well. And it makes for a nice and secure mane. If you want it to be thicker, you can flip this over to the side and make another row as you go. And that's how you're going to do straight hair. When it comes to the mane up at the top, you're going to do that same thing, but you're going to crochet across the front like this. So that you can, so that you have sort of the bangs covering the whole front. So once you have all of your curls made, you're going to start attaching them to the stick horse. So you're going to need a bunch of fabric pins and your stick unicorn or hobby horse unicorn or whatever we're calling this. And the first thing you're going to do is you're going to pick a color, and you're going to just so you're going to take a long strand and you're going to pin it on this far side. See if I can hold it so it's easier to see, of the horn. And then you're also going to pin it over here on this side so that you kind of have the side swept bang look. So that's going to be our starting piece. And you're going to take a smaller one of the bangs and you're going to pin it up here. So they do a little bit of a crisscross. You don't want to have a bunch of bare pink skin poking out. So it's going to be something like that. And we'll take one more of the small ones. Well, we'll do the dark green. And we'll put it right. I'm going to pull it up a little bit farther so that the curl sits up here. And this is all about personal preference. And we're pinning them kind of loosely into place so that we can stop, evaluate, and change anything if necessary. So we'll take our third small one and we'll put it kind of right here. We'll go ahead and take one more long one and put it very close to that, but below it just a smidge. And pin that into place. So when you're about here, you're going to stop and take a look. Say, do I like the way that's looking? I'd say mostly. I'm going to pull that one down a little bit. So once you have the bangs on in the front, we're going to secure them. That way they're not moving around as we're trying to do the mane. So what you're going to do, let's see if I can get a good angle for this, is we're going to use our yarn tails. We should have 2 for each one, and we're just going to work them down in 2 different sides of a stitch. Oh, that one came off. Like so. And then you're just going to knot them together. If you pull it tight enough, it should kind of disappear. And you're just going to hide the ends while weave in the ends. Then we can remove the pin. So I need to put this one back in place where it was. About right there. We'll do the same thing for it. Oh, okay, see that's not gonna work because I pulled these up on this both through the same stitch, which means that I would make a knot, but the whole thing would be able to pull out. So that can't happen. And if you get in a predicament where you can't go under a stitch without it being under the same 2 or the same one, like in this case, just pull one under and then knot them like so. And if you have an excessive yarn tail, make it a little shorter and then weave in your ends. And remove the pin. So go ahead and do that for the tops of all of the bangs, and then we'll tune back in to pin the bottoms in place where needed. So once we have the tops of the bangs all secure, we need to pin at the very least this curl into place. Because it does the side swoop thing, it is going to have a tendency to just be in the horse's eyes all of the time. So we need to pin this one into place and probably at least this one as well. So to do that, you're going to take just a little scrap piece of the color and you're going to pull it through a stitch in the head where you want the curl to sit. And then through a stitch in the curl like that. And then you're just going to simply tie a double knot and weave in the ends. So it's pretty simple, but it should hold it well enough. So do that for that one, and then also for this longer green curl right here. All right. So there you have it. I think the little bangs will be fine, just floating about by themselves, but if you feel like you want them to be pinned in a very specific place, you can definitely secure those as well. For now though, we're going to switch and we're going to start attaching the mane. So what we're going to do is, once again, we're just going to lightly pin these in place, and you can go right or left with the direction of your manes. I'm going to go left so that, because on my other two I went right. So you're going to do a couple or a few Actually, I don't want to do that. Do I like that better? I personally don't want to do like dark green, blue, light green, dark green, blue, light green. I want to have kind of a random pattern. So I'm going to establish some of the random here. And make sure that your yarn ends are all pulled out to the opposite side so that it's a little easier when it's time to secure. So you don't want to pin the whole thing in place simply because as you try and move it around, they tend to come out. So you want to pin some and then attach. So we're going to stop here and start attaching. So now that I have attached a few, I think I've figured out a slightly cleaner way to do this. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the next piece of hair that we've made, and so that we don't have a gap like this, you're going to work the first or the nearest side of the yarn tail through the last loop, or where this last hair piece went through, that same stitch. So I'm going to pull that through there, and then just pull this one through a nearby stitch, which allows it to still stay pretty much down the center there. So now we have both of our yarn tails on this side. We're going to go ahead and pull it up through the second or third stitch. Kind of depends on your preference there. The same thing on this side. And then back down through the next stitch for both. And then you're going to just pull the one yarn tail through on this side, and then you do want this yarn tail to end up in the same hole here so that they are together. That way, when you knot them off, you can weave kind of the whole knot in and it essentially disappears. Let's see if I can, I'm getting caught on my nylon. I'm still getting caught on the nylon. We'll do this in pieces. But essentially, you know, the knot can disappear underneath the, wow, these guys don't want to hide. There we go. Underneath the color of the head. So you're going to do that all the way down, even past the bridle, until you have all of your hair on. So when you've attached it all the way down, it should look like this. And you're done. Alrighty, so we actually aren't done because on YouTube enough people voted to have reins. So we're going to make those right now. So you're going to use the halter color and your 8mm hook, and you want to start by making a slip knot. And you're going to make sure you've got plenty of tail because we're going to use this to attach it to the horse. So just go ahead and make a slip knot and insert your hook. And you're going to single crochet 2. So 1 and then 2. And then what we're going to be doing is essentially making a foundationless double slip stitch. I'm sure there is a correct term for that, but I'm not quite sure what it is. So to do foundationless crochet, you make the 2 chains, and then you work through. It's a little hard to see, but you essentially make, you know, the top of the V. You make sure and you pull it separate from the bottom, like third strand, and you're going to work under those two. And you're going to yarn over. And normally if you're doing a foundationless crochet, you at this point you would yarn over and pull through one, then you'd yarn over and pull through two, and that would be how you created the top and the bottom. But that makes too thick of a profile, and so let me just take my hook out. I have not actually been crocheting today, so my hands are I'm just working a little too tight. So doing that makes too thick of a profile, so we're just going to do a double slip stitch. So we're going to pull through both of those like that. And so the reason why I'm doing this instead of just single crocheting, a long chain, is that this is a little bit stronger, and with little hands pulling on it incessantly, you want it to have a lot of strength. So what you're going to keep doing is you're going to keep going back under the stitch that you just formed. So you just formed that top stitch there. You're going to yarn over, then you're going to pull through both, then back through that stitch, and you're going to pull through both. So it's hard to see, and I apologize for that, but you have kind of you have the V's across the top. You go 1, 2, 3, and then you also have V's on the bottom. This one's kind of big and loose because it's where we started, but so we've got 1, 2, 3. And so we're going to make 70 of these double slip stitches. So you're just going to sit down and count and just keep making these until you get to 70. Alrighty, so when you get to the end of your 70 chains, mine, like always, is a little curly, so you just want to kind of give it all a tug and let it straighten out. Then you're going to cut a yarn tail. It does not need to be this long. This actually was the end of my ball, so thankfully I was able to get all of my 70 stitches in. I was afraid there for a minute. So then you're going to take your unicorn, and I would suggest using the 5.5 millimeter hook, and you're going to use it to attach the reins. I would say a little bit lower than right in the middle. And to do that, you're just going to go underneath the bridle and pull it through. Then I'm going to go over onto the other stitch of the bridle on the other side and pull it through. Oops, not like that. Got to get a good angle here. And pull it through here. And cinch it up nice and tight. I have kind of a big, loose strand here from not working quite tight enough in the beginning. So I'm just grabbing that. I'll tuck it in a minute. So the way we just did that right there, it holds it on, but it's not the strongest. So I would suggest going deep down into the pink part of the crocheting, not just under the bridle, and attaching it one more time. So working down underneath there, then working up through a stitch up here at the top, maybe down on the other side of that stitch. So then you're going to want to take it on this side as well, kind of down and through. Then you're going to knot it off and weave in the ends. So this point is going to get a lot of the pressure from being pulled. So that's why you want this connection to be really, really secure. So now I'm just going to knot it off. And then weave in the ends. Then you're going to do the same thing on the other side. You're going to attach it. I mean, I would take a look at it this way and try and go straight across. So roughly, so you're going to look at it from the front and go straight across. So roughly like about here. And then kind of follow that same pattern of securing it. So once you have your reins all attached, you are officially done. Congratulations. I hope you guys have enjoyed it. I've enjoyed sharing it, so I hope it's gone well.